It is a truly bizarre experience to stand in the middle of a room and realize that the conversation has shifted from casual shop talk to a heated debate about your actual value and place in the hierarchy. You've spent so much time keeping your head down and focusing on your own personal growth that you didn't notice the massive impact your presence was beginning to have on the people around you. Now things have reached a boiling point where different factions are actually arguing over your potential and your influence, with some people treating your word like it carries a specific kind of weight that others simply don't possess. To hear someone describe you with a term as heavy as royalty is enough to make anyone pause, but you know that in a grounded sense. They aren't talking about crowns or bloodlines. They are talking about a level of self, command, and a refined way of moving through the world that sets you apart from the average person who is just reacting to their environment. This clash is happening because you've become a fixed point of stability in a world that is increasingly chaotic, and people are naturally fighting to claim a piece of that certainty, or to figure out exactly how you managed to achieve it. The dark psychology of this situation is rooted in the fact that your quiet confidence acts as a magnet for both intense loyalty and deep-seated insecurity in others. One group sees your consistency and your refusal to engage in petty drama as a sign of true leadership, while the other group feels threatened by the fact that they can't seem to find your price or your breaking point. This tension has spilled over into open conflict because your elevation has forced everyone else to pick a side regarding how they view success and character. Those who are on your side see your noble behavior as the gold standard, while your detractors are desperately trying to find a way to drag you back down to a more relatable level of dysfunction. You stay classy by not getting involved in the actual argument, which only serves to strengthen the point of those who are defending you. By remaining a strategist who is focused on the long-term goal rather than the immediate ego boost, you are proving that your worth isn't up for debate, even if the rest of the world hasn't stopped talking about it yet. There is a very relatable irony in the fact that the more you try to stay out of the spotlight, the brighter it seems to shine on your every move. You never asked for a title, and you certainly never asked for people to start clashing over your reputation. But your results have spoken so loudly that they've created a vacuum that people are now rushing to fill with their own interpretations. When someone uses a word that suggests you belong to a higher class of individual, they are really just acknowledging the fact that you have mastered the art of self-regulation. Most people are slaves to their impulses, but you move with a gangster level of precision that makes you look like you're playing a different game entirely. This creates a rift between the people who want to follow your lead and the people who are terrified of the change you represent. You are the steady hand that everyone is fighting over. And while the noise around you gets louder, your internal world stays perfectly quiet and focused on what actually matters. The grounded reality of being described in such elevated terms is that it places a new kind of pressure on your shoulders to maintain the standard you've set for yourself. You realize that being seen as someone special means that your mistakes will be scrutinized just as closely as your successes, which is why your discipline has to remain unshakable. The people arguing over you are looking for a sign of weakness or a moment where you lose your composure, but you've already done the dark work of sealing those cracks in your character. You moved with class when nobody was watching. So moving with class while they're fighting is just an extension of your natural state. This consistency is what makes the debate so intense. There is no middle ground when it comes to a person who is as focused and driven as you have become. You are the benchmark that others are using to measure their own progress, and whether they love you or hate you for it, they can't stop paying attention to the way you operate. It hit the group hard when they realized that they can't actually control the narrative about you anymore because your actions have become too consistent to ignore. The clash is a sign that the old ways of categorizing you have failed, and people are struggling to find a new way to describe a person who is both relatable and completely superior in their execution. When that high-level terminology was dropped into the conversation, it was a signal that the old social rules no longer apply to you. You have elevated yourself through pure merit and a refusal to be small-minded, which has left the people around you in a state of total disbelief. They are fighting over your legacy while you are still busy building it, which is the ultimate proof that you've already won the game. You don't need to participate in the conflict to benefit from it. The mere fact that it's happening is a testament to the fact that you have become the most influential person in the room without even trying. The most interesting part of watching people defend your honor is realizing that your silence has actually become your loudest weapon, because you don't waste time explaining yourself or trying to win people over. Your supporters have to do that work for you, and they do it with a passion that comes from seeing someone finally do it right. They are clashing with your critics because your life has become a proof of concept for a better way of living, and they have a personal stake in making sure that truth is recognized. This is a grounded form of social power that is much more effective than any title or position could ever be. You are the gangster of the mind, the strategist who let the world fight over the details while you kept your eyes on the horizon. By staying classy and not engaging in the back and forth, you are maintaining the very quality that made them call you noble in the first place. You are the prize that both sides are trying to claim, but the truth is that you belong only to yourself. People are on edge because your presence forces them to confront their own lack of discipline and their own tendency to fold under pressure. The clash over your reputation is really an internal clash within each of those people, as they decide whether to be inspired by your growth or to be resentful of it. When someone calls you by that elevated title, they are expressing a deep-seated human need for a leader who actually has their act together. You've become the relatable hero in their story, the person who stayed grounded and moved clean, even when the situation was messy. This has created a level of tension that can't be easily resolved, as your detractors realize that their usual tactics of gossip and undermining simply don't work on you. You have achieved a level of mental and emotional independence that makes you look like a different species to people who are still trapped in the cycle of seeking approval and fearing rejection. There is a certain dark satisfaction in knowing that your mere existence is enough to cause this much disruption among the people who once thought they could handle you. You didn't set out to start a fight, but by being the best version of yourself, you've accidentally exposed the mediocrity of everyone else. The clash is a natural reaction to the presence of a person who is truly elevated. As the old systems of power try to figure out where you fit in, you stay classy by treating everyone with the same level of detached respect, regardless of which side of the argument they are on. This grounded approach is what keeps you at the top. You don't get distracted by the noise of the crowd, because you know that the crowd is fickle and their opinions are fleeting. Your focus remains on the work and the strategy, which is the only thing that actually keeps you in that high level position you've earned through your own effort. Looking at the situation objectively, you can see that the debate is just another milestone on your path to total self-mastery. You've moved from being targeted to being discussed. And now you've moved from being discussed to being defended by people who recognize your value. Each stage of this process has required you to stay grounded and to trust your own logic over the noise of the community. The fact that they are using such high-level terms to describe you is a sign that you have successfully transitioned into a person of real substance and influence. You are the strategist who stayed quiet, the leader who stayed focused, and the person who won because they refused to be anything less than exceptional. The clash is just the sound of the world catching up to the reality you've been building for yourself in the dark for a very long time.